Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Darkhorse Dental Success Podcast. I'm your host, Ruben Camp, CEO of Darkhorse Tech, and I'm delighted to bring on Dr. Kate from McCook, Nebraska, and I'll let her introduce herself. Hey,
hi,
welcome.
everybody. Hi, thanks for having me, Ruben. So as mentioned, my name is, I go by Kate or Caitlin Haag. I am located in McCook, Nebraska. I'm a general practitioner here, and I'm in the office by myself. I don't know, just saving lives and teeth every day.
Every day. But if there's a heart attack, they have to go somewhere else, right?
Right. Yeah. Not saving people in that way. No.
Well, set the stage for us. Like, where did you grow up? Where'd you go to dental school? Are you like Nebraska all the way, or did you go and go outside and come back? How'd you end up here?
Yeah. So I grew up in Nebraska. This is my hometown of McCook. I graduated high school here. I had a brief stint in middle school in Cave Creek, Arizona, and then we came back, and that was nice because I figured out urban life is not the life for me. I knew that it was.
Cave Creek is like a sleepy retirement community.
Okay, well, it felt real big. I mean, it's outside of Phoenix.
Yes, yes, it's
so I don't know. But anyways, came back, graduated. I went to our state college in Chadron up in the Sandhills for undergraduate. Got accepted into, we have a rural health opportunities program here where, there's certain criteria they have to meet throughout school, and, testing of the DAT. And then there's some small repayment if you come back to rural Nebraska, which was my plan anyways. So I went to dental school at the university in Lincoln, and then I came back to my hometown.
Nice. And becoming a dentist obviously it's not like, you just there kind of has to be my father was a dentist, and that's how I almost became a dentist. And now I just work for them.
Right.
But what did your kind of story look like where you ended up becoming, a dentist, a business owner?
Sure. So, I mean, I had a couple instances throughout, I would say throughout my life. So my mom worked there was a shared space between a general doctor and a dentist, and she was their secretary, and I would be there after school, and I'd be I'm sure terrorizing everyone in the office. So I was exposed to dentistry young, but then about 11 or 12, I was at softball practice. They decided trying me at third base was a good choice. It wasn't a good choice. I took a grounder right to my
35 feet away from the batter.
Yeah,
at third base.
Yeah, I'm a little. No more third base for me. But took it and knocked my front teeth out. I had braces on, so they were still attached to the bracket, hanging out. It was super cool. And my mom happened to be out of town, so even more awesome. So my friend's mom took me. I'm going to be honest. I think it was actually the orthodontist.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but he handled it amazingly, calmed me down, fixed me up, reattached my braces. And, it just, him being able to calm me down and tell me everything was going to be okay. I don't know, it just made a big, mark on my life. And then later in dental school, that tooth started to discolor and turn black. And I decided I probably shouldn't be a dentist with a black tooth. Yeah. People are gonna be like, "What's wrong with your mouth?"
Wait, that'd be the most original dentist ever.
It's true. I mean, they tell you to make yourself stand out from the others. Maybe that should have been my trademark. But anyways, I went and got a root canal and a crown done, and again, just another good experience. Which I was already in dental school at that point, but it just solidified. You can make a difference. It's not just drilling and filling. You really can make a difference for somebody that's in kind of a traumatic, stressful situation, and put them back together and make them feel good about their smile again.
Yeah. And it's such a great story you told, because it's like you're coming into this field with a lot of compassion, right? What you went through is extremely painful. I've also been hit in the face by hockey sticks and hockey pucks before. I know it's not the most comfortable thing in the world, and you're there in the chair hoping. The moral of my story is I should just be wearing mouth guards, and I do now, but it just took a couple teeth, a tongue laceration, and now I'm good now. I've learned my lesson. But
at least you learned from it.
yes,
You know?
I think the problem is, since my dad was a dentist, I didn't like respect my teeth enough, because I always had like, oh yeah, he'll just take care of me, and
Right.
it was not a good thing. But sorry, back to you. It's really awesome that, like, this wasn't like, oh, dentists make a lot of money, this is what I want to do. It really, your dental origin story started from trauma, and then compassion, and then like, yeah, I want to take care of people. So just, kudos. Those are the kind of people, as patients, we want to go see, as the people that came from something like that.
Yep.
So you mentioned McCook's your hometown. You ended up back there. What, we help dentists open startup practices all over the country. And it's usually not their hometown, and they're doing all of this, placing $100 bills to marketing companies and SEO. Like, how much of an advantage was it just being the hometown kid?
I
Or
think it's
were you the,
definite.
were you the school bully? Maybe it
No,
didn't help.
no. I hope nobody thinks that I was. I feel like I was very nice, but I guess I could have hurt someone's feelings along the way. I hope not. But no, I think in a way it did. I mean, it was an easy transition, I would say. Like, I did end up going back and partnering with a dentist who had been in practice, had a very successful career. He'd been at that point, I think, 30 years. And so he had a good established practice going. But I think it was also like, it was an advantage. People knew who I was. They knew I was committed to the area. I wasn't just somebody that was going to be there, for a year and go, so they could trust that I was going to be there long term and take care of them. And I don't know, they also knew that I knew how small towns are and how they work, that I wasn't just gonna, come in and, I don't know, be oblivious to how all the things work. And it's been really nice. I have old teachers that come to me. I have classmates. I have friends' moms. It's just the whole gamut. And it's nice also to just be able to talk to them, and they know that, I'm actually invested and care about them, and I'll probably see them later at Walmart.
Yeah, right. You just, like, every patient that walks through the door, you literally have something in common with.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, mostly. Yeah. And like I said, I'll see them around. So, I've gotten the habit of, I'm not great with remembering names, but like, if somebody says hi to me, I'm going to say hi back, talk to them, because more than likely I saw them as a patient, even if they were new patient and I don't exactly remember. I'm like, you gotta, small town, you gotta be friendly, and it's fun. It's nice. I like patients. I know some people like to not be recognized, but I like it.
Yeah, it reminds me of a story that my dad, I live in a small town as well, about 35,000 people, is upstate New York.
That's very big. I'm 7,000.
Very big. Fair enough. He had about 3,000 patients, so he had about 10% of the population were patients. And I remember he'd be like, "Hey, son, let's go." It's called the Commons. It's like the center of Ithaca. Let's go to the Commons. I'm like, I know what's going to happen. We're going to walk through the Commons, and it's going to take 45 minutes to walk a quarter of a mile, because every 5 minutes someone's going to stop you. Half of them are going to be friendly, the other half are going to to open their mouth and be like, "Hey, what is
oh yeah, no, definitely."
So
yeah,
so Dad,
I know it's been really, I don't have anything to compare it to, but I think like having that relationship right off, I would imagine, makes it easier for them to trust me and to if I have a recommendation, that they'll trust that I'm giving them the best, the thing that I think is best for them.
Yeah. And so you also went through a pretty major practice renovation. I know you mentioned, you purchased an established practice, but then you completely, ground up design.
Yeah.
What were the things that kind of led you to decide, hey, I'm just going to blow out and start over?
I mean, I think a couple things. I did not own the property that I was in, and the previous doctor had renovated probably, I think, in the 90s. And at that time, it was, dentistry has evolved. So he did a really nice job, but it just wasn't, what we were cramped for space. Plus, I was in a unique situation of that my landlord was also a dentist, and we shared a waiting room. It worked out fine, but I think we were both cramped for space, and I just wanted something to call my own, and to feel like I could, decorate like I wanted, advertise like I wanted, that it was my space, that I didn't have to worry about that, maybe they were downstairs having a staff meeting when I needed to warm up my food, and vice versa,
Yeah.
So it was I just wanted a space to call my own, and just to, we were limited on the patients that we could get in because we were limited by chair space. So I wanted to be able to serve the people that were, needing and wanting to come to us. So, and there wasn't any real estate that was, available for renovation, or anything. So it's like, well, let's do it. Let's build it, and it was seriously from the ground up. We had to bring sewer in, everything. It was just a field. So yeah.
And the side benefit, I would assume, is like the patients are really aware that you are committed, right? You're like, well, if she's going to build this brand new spanking dental office, she's probably going to be here a while. And coming from somebody, my dad he's almost retired at this point. So, I've now switched dentists. And as someone who has designed, including your operatories with ceiling TVs, I'm a victim of not having a TV. So I know from in a patient's experience standpoint, just how much, again, we've touched on some of my murky dental care that I've gone through. So I've been in the chair a lot, just staring at what's above your head right now.
Right. Counting all
oh God. So it's my curse. I get to design all these dental offices with great patient entertainment systems, and then I'm just staring at, but I don't know. That's me.
Hey, I like it.
So one big thing, obviously we're both, entrepreneurs and business owners, and two of the biggest things that it takes to run a successful, healthy business, leadership and culture, right? And specifically on leadership, I'm just more curious. I like to ask anybody I respect this question. What would you identify as some of your biggest strengths as a leader, and where would you say you're like, oh, I need to pick up a book to get better at that?
I would say my strengths, I really try to enforce and create, create a really positive work environment. We're at work most of the time more than we're at home. So, you want it to be a comfortable, kind of fun environment. I try to do team building activities, just try to make it a nice place to work. And also, I feel like I try to include my team in, it's not just, even though, I technically own the practice, they're here with me. They're my team. They help me make decisions. They are open to telling me things, like, hey, knock it off. Could you not take off the towel on them before we're ready? Because then they just get up and leave. they'll give me feedback too, and I'm completely fine with that. I want that. It shouldn't be a one-way street. We're in this together. We're a team. So I feel like that's my strength.
So
and
what
I'm
I
open
heard,
to, sorry.
you're approachable.
Yeah.
You yourself are coachable, and you try to involve your team.
Yes. Yep. And I'm open to try. If they have ideas, I'm open to try it. I'll try anything. If it doesn't work, fine. We'll go back to what we were doing. But I always joke with my office manager, my least favorite phrase is, I don't know. We've always done it this way. Like, no. Oh man. Like,
yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah. So, because I'm like, well, how do we know that's the best? So yeah. And then as far as things I need to work on, and I think it's going to be a lifelong thing, is, communication. Just communicate.
Do you mean like intonation? Do you mean just like taking the time? Because I would identify this on a weakness as mine as well. It also comes from like a place of intensity. Like I just have so much stuff going on that I'm like, sometimes it's like, bring your fastball when you go see Ruben, right? Make sure you have all the bullet points ready to go. What would you think what you need to work on is?
Yeah, I mean, I think definitely, it's hard to, like, I might have a thought and I'll either forget it and think that I told somebody it, or I will tell 3 people to do the same thing because I've forgotten that I've told anybody to do it. And then they're all confused of like, well, she told me to do it. No, she told me. And then I'm like, I'm sorry, guys, like, my bad. And just when you get a group of more than 3 people, it's hard, and we're all doing different things. We all have different duties throughout the day to communicate all the things that need to be done. I never intentionally leave somebody out of something that I think is important, but inevitably sometimes they're always like, well, I didn't know about that. And I'm like, well, darn it. I'm sorry. I didn't know. Yeah. So yeah, that would be, thing. And then always just, if there's any upsets, that's always hard to handle. But thankfully I have a really good team. So
that's awesome. Yeah. And obviously we're dealing with 2 different demographics. I know most of your staff are women, right? Yeah. I'm dealing with 22 to 27 single, video game playing guys. So it's the struggles are interesting. Take me back to being a young man, and I try to be as empathetic as possible. Obviously, you and I are at this stage because we have a lot of discipline, right, and work ethic, and we're not just going to like shut the door at 5 o'clock and say, deuces. So I think that's my biggest struggle is, I'm so aware that they should not be as motivated as me and care as much as me, but I care so much that I forget. Right. Yep. And that comes through in the communication where I can struggle for sure in being tactful, or let's say not, as they call me, direct. I think it's like the way to say Ruben he says what he means to say, and he's not aware that it hurt your feelings if it did. Well, that's not always bad, because sometimes the unspoken expectations are worse than the spoken. Yeah. I haven't made anybody cry yet, though. So, it can't be that bad, right?
Yeah, that's a win for sure.
Well, this was great. I appreciate you taking the time. The last question I have for you is in regards to like resources that you've leaned on throughout, the years running your practice, in terms of what would you suggest, a dentist that is just completely lost at sea, where would they start in terms of dental groups, organizations, books, conferences, to kind of, start that incremental process to becoming a better business owner?
I think there are a lot of them out there. I really, there's, Glenn Vo's Nifty Thrifty Dentist Group that is good, or Doc Hoff, I think it's pronounced Hoff Power. The Business of Dentistry Facebook page. If you're a mom and have kids, Grace I think Zimmerman, I'm not sure of her last name's Mommy Dentist group is good, Dentists in Business group. And I know there's some other like really good groups out there. I for a time was part of the Dental Success Network, and they have a ton of great information in there. There's a ton of good coaches, like Heidi Mount. She has a free Facebook group that has good.
Heidi is fantastic.
Yeah, and you know, I used to get on Dental Town a lot. I don't get on it so much. I find I don't know. I don't love the vibe there. It's not my people's. But there is a lot of good information that if you do just need to search, you can do that too.
Yeah, it's like a little encyclopedia. But that's what I noticed when I first started almost 10 years ago at this point. It was all Dental Town, like the community, in terms of if I just wanted to ask everybody, the group information, like Facebook hadn't really formed yet. And then it was like overnight, this movement of the banned Dental Town people, right? The people that caused the stir. And it's funny because I work for Howard still, but I also work for a lot of the people his forum administrators have banned, created these Facebook groups. And now it's like, Dental Town's not even something that I mentioned when people ask me that question. It's, as you mentioned, Glenn's group is great for content and also group deals. Business Dentistry's out there, Dental Hacks Nation. The whole conversation has moved to Facebook, as you mentioned.
Yeah. Well, I find it to be a lot more, I don't know, just user friendly, and I'm on Facebook anyways, so
sure.
I don't know, it's easier.
Yeah. Well, this was great. I appreciate it so much coming on and, letting my audience know your story, the good, the bad, the ugly, of what it takes to run a business. And again, it was just great to have you on.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me. And thanks, I guess.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kate.
Yeah. All right. Well, I hope you have a good rest of your day, Ruben.
Thanks. You too.